Welcome. I'm glad you're here to enjoy the outdoors on this day after the solstice. We have in our readings a strange assembly. And it might help to start with our gospel this morning, since before this, Jesus has cast out a demon on the Galilee side of the lake, has gone across the lake where there's been a great storm while he's sleeping in the boat. He wakes up and calms the seas. And then they continue on their way to the coast of the Gerasenes, where he casts out the demons from the man today. The difference in these stories is pretty stark. On the one side, you have the population that knows Jesus, who knows the prophecies, who are expecting his deeds of power because they've heard of him and heard of his ministry. And on the other side, you have people who've never heard of him. We know that this is Gentile country because we have swineherds there, for one thing. It's also a country of the Gerasenes, which isn't a Jewish people. And in that country, as he does his deed of power, he does something different. Ordinarily, he does not suffer the demons to speak. And on the Gerasene side of the lake, he allows them to speak. He casts them out into the herd of swine that then charges down into the lake and drowns. And when the man asks to follow him, he doesn't give him conditions. He tells him instead to go home. He also doesn't tell him not to tell anyone what has happened to him, but tells him instead to go and tell the people in the city what God has done for him. It's sort of a foot in the door. And we know that as Paul and the disciples branch out after Jesus' death and resurrection and ascension, that the Gerasenes were one of the countries they went to. As the early church spread throughout that region and beyond, they would have remembered these deeds. It would have kept with them because of this one man's words in the city of telling all that Jesus had done for him. There are so many transitions from chaos into peace in this morning's readings. We hear it on our first reading, as we hear of Isaiah running away from Jezebel and Ahab, finding himself in the mountains after he's had the food and drink from the angel, and hiding in the cave with his own chaos surrounding him. We see that chaos in the forms of the storms outside, the violent wind that breaks the stones. We hear it in the earthquake. And then after finding peace, that's when he finds God in that stillness, in the utter silence that follows. We hear that same silence on the seas as Jesus quiets the storm before he goes on to the coast of the Gerasenes and calms the storm within inside that man. So often we find ourselves still inside that boat, struggling with our chaos. So often we find ourselves still inside that cave, struggling with our chaos. So much of what we do when we're struggling between one decision and another factors into these readings this morning. That chaos of the unknown versus the known, of fear versus peace, of fear versus courage, perhaps. I saw that so much in my children as they prepared to go to Alaska a couple weeks ago, with Eva being terrified to get on an airplane. Luke had his own way of expressing his anxiety over being away from home for the longest time he'd been, going on the first flight he'd ever been on, going to a place he'd never been, with a bunch of people he didn't know. It's a lot. Yeah. Luke's chaos comes out in his anxiety is expressed in a repeating script of talking about everything that's going to happen over and over and over again. It helps him to rehearse it because it gives him something to hold on to, some way of knowing that at least he knows what to expect. He has some sort of schedule. He knows he's going to get on the plane. He knows they're going to land. He knows they're going to be at this church, St. Mary's in Anchorage. He didn't know that they were going to get to go dog sledding. He didn't know that they were going to get to go to a cultural heritage center. He didn't know that they were going to get to go to the coast in Seward. He didn't know that they were going to do a lot of things that they did. And when he came home with the stories, it was clear that not only had he found peace, but that he had found this extreme joy. So much so that he signed up immediately to go on the pilgrimage that's happening in July with another group of people he doesn't know, hiking 25 miles in a place he's never been. We tend to get more comfortable when we have the courage to risk a little and find ourselves still in God's company, still in the company of those that surround us with friendship, with love, with peace. We find that it may not be the surroundings that we're familiar to, but the story doesn't change that much in our hearts. And we get to experience this amazing newness, these unexpected gifts. This morning, as we sit outside in a strange worship space, not too unfamiliar because we do this every year, surrounded by people that we do know, we get to bask in these moments of newness that give us a breath of fresh air. They give us new perspective, that draw us into a different way of living in our faith as a community. And it's the hope that as we leave from these places, we'll be able to take that gift with us and live our faith through different perspectives in our world. A world that's full of unexpected gifts, as much as it is scary sometimes. A world that's full of unexpected encounters with Christ and with the divine, in places perhaps we've never been, with people we've never met, doing things we've never done. And yet, God goes with us. That doesn't change. And so as we celebrate the day after solstice, as we celebrate during Pride Month, as we celebrate the newness, as we celebrate in our world, may we take that gift with us, that no matter where we are, God goes along. Our faith is there. And Christ is with us in the most unexpected places, whether it be in the still small voice, on the shores of the Gerasene lands, in Anchorage, or out in the wilderness. God is with us. Amen.